Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen of Algebra 2 Honors. Good to have everybody here today.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. Here we have a given parabola, has a vertex at -3, 2, and another point at -1, -3. Write the parabola's quadratic function in vertex form. So I want you to take a minute on that. Okay. We'll start.
Spin the wheel.
Start writing on this. I don't. Need me to spin a wheel?
Yeah, spin it.
No, sticky.
Spin it.
Spin it.
I would let
Okay.
continuously.
Don't let it, you watch. Spin it.
No,
They want to spin it, but you do.
They really do.
sticky goes in for the worst ideas.
So anyway, we have this right here. So we have the vertex is going to be h is equal to -3, k is equal to 2. So just filling in here, we have h of x equals a, and then we have x minus -3, so that's going to be x plus 3. Did you get that?
Yeah.
So squared, and then plus k, which is 2. And so now we can take this point here and do what with it?
Yeah.
Plug it in right here. So we have -3 equals a times -1 plus 3 squared plus 2. And then if you add these together, I think you get 2. Is that right?
Yep.
So you get 2 squared, which is 4. So you get 4a plus 2. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then if we subtract 2, we get -5 equals 4a. And then we divide by 4. We get a is equal to -5/4. And so our final function here is going to be h of x equals -5/4. And we have x plus 3 squared plus 2. Is that what you got for that?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions about that? And you understand about testing in the calculator, plugging it in to see if you have your, anybody get -1.25 instead? You did? You did? Okay. And so, yeah, either way is perfectly acceptable. Do you need to go over this anymore? Get any, are you good on this?
Mine does too.
Okay.
Look at that.
Okay, good.
No, she hit me. Okay. I gave Chloe the one.
All right. Let's go to the next one here. Okay, next one here. Find an approximate quadratic function model for the graph data by estimating the x-intercepts and using one other point. So go spend a minute on this, and then we'll go over it.
Dang, this one weird. I feel like this one.
Not really, because
Spin it.
I'm not in it today because
Turn it up.
Okay, Cheyenne, are you focused on this, Cheyenne?
Actually, she is.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there, good job.
Gee, what are those numbers?
Well, it's just, I would say, what I would do, and this is just me, is they take an x-intercept of -2 and an x-intercept of 4. That's what it looks like to me. Looks like it could be -2.1 or something like that, but I think the arithmetic's going to be easier if I just use -2.
So -2, -1? Or, hold on, what? Oh,
Negative
-2
Factor
or 4.
form. I'll show you in a minute.
-2.3.
Yeah, you could. And you're going to have, depending on what you choose for your x-intercepts and what you choose for your other point, that's going to make a difference on what you end up with.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm away for you.
And you can kind of see the way the points are too. The points aren't exactly on the grid either.
I'm away for you, G-Dog.
So if you're emulating your calculator, this one here would be like -2, -2.3, -1.3 or something like that.
Which, G, let's just make it -2, 1. -1.
Yeah, you could. That would be pretty close too. That's really up to you to decide. The thing about it, if you're going to use one other point, this point up here is a pretty clean point right here. Okay, ready to look at this?
No, still on.
Okay, I'll give you about half a minute.
Are we spinning?
Yes,
Spin the
sir.
wheel.
No, I don't plan to spin the wheel on this today.
Good.
That's not my plan.
What?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
what I'm thinking of looking at this, I'm going to have x equals -2, one of my x-intercepts, and x is equal to 4. And when you create a factor out of this, you get x plus 2 is equal to 0. X plus 2, let me write it right here.
Oh.
X plus 2 equals 0. And x minus 4 is equal to 0. And so what you're going to have is f of x equals a times x plus 2 times quantity x minus 4. And just have to recognize that the factors are going to be counterintuitive to what the values of the zeros are, okay? And then if we go ahead and plug in this one other point right here, which looks to be like 1, 5, is that right? Then you'd say 5 is equal to a times 1 plus 2, and then over here we have 1 minus 4. So here we're going to have 3 times -3, is that right? So we have 5 equals -9a, and so a is equal to -5/9. Does that all make sense here? And so now our equation is going to be f of x equals negative 5/9. And then we're going to have these factors here. X plus 2, X minus 4. And is that going to be it?
No.
Pardon me?
No, K's not.
Yeah, in a factored form, there's no K outside of here. Okay, because the K essentially gets incorporated in here. Now, if one thing we could do, could we convert this thing into vertex form? We absolutely could, okay? Because if we multiplied all this together here, what would we get? We would get 2x minus 4x, so we'd get negative 5/9, and then we have x squared, because that's going to be x times x, right? And then we have minus 2x, and then we'd have minus 8. So that's what it's going to look like. And then what we could do is we could create a perfect square out of this by extracting this negative 8, 5/9 times negative, putting out here. We'd have to make this plus 1. So we could manipulate this to get a vertex form, but we're not going to need to do that today. And let's go ahead in our calculator. And the main thing we're going to be looking for is the X-intercepts and this point here to check if it's any good. Close, close. So let's go here. So we have negative 5/9. And we have times quantity, it was, what was that? X plus 2, X minus 4. X plus 2, X minus 4. And so we have that, right? I'm going to zoom 6 it to get a standard window out of the deal. And we should get, do we see 1,5 up here? Yeah, that is perfect, isn't it? And then we have an x-intercept of negative 2 and also an x-intercept of positive 4. So that's a good match, right? That's as good as we can hope for. And yeah, if we wanted to get really prickly about it, we might have chosen negative 2.1 or something like that, but to me this is just a good answer, okay? So when you have your test tomorrow, when you see something like that, you're going to be okay on that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Use our notes.
Yeah, especially these notes. Mark has asked if we can use your notes. The notes like you're taking now especially, I want you to do that. Okay?
There, Mark. Taking notes.
Yeah, and what this is going to become like an index. Your notes become like an index for, hey, this is what the test is. All right. Here we have this next problem. Okay, we have this next problem.
Okay.
The graph of quadratic function has a vertex at 4, negative 5, and opens upward. Can each of the following points lie on the graph? So it's going to be yes. It's going to be yes or no for each, for A, B, and C, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
My recommendation on this is to draw a little sketch of where those of a coordinate plane, where those points lie, and then you could use what you see on that sketch to answer the question, which is what I'm going to do in a couple minutes. All right.
Which one opens over is more?
Huh?
Which one opens up?
It does not open upward. Yes, it fucking does.
It does not.
How?
I don't know.
Yeah.
How?
It's B.
How does it?
It's just gonna be It's gonna be -1 equals -6 minus 4. That's gonna be negative, right? No, but that's gonna be squared.
4.
Yeah, so
Four
it is
squared.
negative.
4. All of them are gonna be squared. They're gonna be a positive number.
True.
So once you divide them, it's different. So it's gonna be negative on one side, you know?
There's gonna be
Because you're gonna add 5, so it's gonna be 4. So it'll be 4, 6. So 4 over 6.
yeah, it's gonna be B.
B works.
Yeah.
What about A though? A works too.
Let's see. It's gonna be -6 equals
5, 4. 5 minus 4. No, that's gonna be 1. 1 squared.
just B and C. I think
Plus 5. -1. Oh, so it's not A. Not
it's B and C.
B. So B is yeah. A is no.
I've already done. Smart.
What about C? -5
Equals.
is a try -5. That's gonna be 0, Mark.
All right. I went around and saw some of what you wrote here, and this is the way I would handle it. I would go like this. I make a little XY coordinate plane here,
C's weird.
and I put 4
That's what I.
and then -5 down here, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, they
So here's the point, right? 4, comma, -5. And then what you did anybody do a sketch like that? You did, Marcus? Okay. All right. Now I'm going to try each of these points here. And so we know the thing is going to be opening upward, so the thing would have to be somewhat like this. Do we know how wide or narrow that parabola is going to be? No, we don't. So here, the challenge of this problem is it presents us with some ambiguity, where we just have to kind of, we're not given all the numbers, so we have to think conceptually on this. So 5, -6, so if I go to 5, -6, that's going to be about down here, right? So would it be possible to have, if this is the vertex, is this going to be a point on that parabola that's opening upward? No, it's not, because the thing's going to be opening upward. Okay, -6, -1. So if we go to -6, -1, 2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -1 here.
Oh,
Now, could this point possibly be on that parabola that opens up here? Yes, it can. Okay, the last one we have is 1, -5. So we have 1, -5. So we have 1, -5. Could this point here be on an opening up parabola?
No.
No, it can't be. Okay, now if it was up, if this was -4.99999, right, instead of 5, it could be, but not on the horizontal thing, because you don't have a parabola in that case. You have a horizontal line. So this is going to be no.
Totally Mark.
D. I said D.
Totally Mark.
Okay. Do you see? I don't know if you can see. To me, making a little sketch is the easiest way to do this, to me. You conceptualize it. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. Okay, here we have another problem. Write the quadratic function for a parabola. It has an axis symmetry at x equals 1, points -2, 5, and 2, 3, and opens upward. Then sketch a graph of the function. And there are different ways to do this. I'll show you a couple different ways. Might be good for some of you. Okay, Rindy, how are you doing on this, Rindy? All right.
even take a pass?
Hey Lee, what a goat.
She goaded. Oh, do you know what you're doing?
Yes.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
You spin the wheel?
No, not today.
Not today.
You good? Or said you don't want to?
She got it on.
Sketch at your graph of the function.
Let's see what we got up here. Okay, that's the last one.
Oh, that's the last one. Is that good?
So I saved the two hardest for last.
It ain't that hard.
No, it shouldn't be that hard. It's just a little more complex is all.
I ain't got it from
I
guys.
think I already got the answer.
Just phase it out, just phase it out. No, like it's forward. Where you at, Owen? Are you going, buddy? There you go.
So Siggy, you finished this one?
I got it with
My head.
You see in my head?
Shut up, man. No, I haven't done this, G. I haven't
You're done? You're not done?
I think it's started machine.
I haven't started.
Walk around a little bit. Anybody, Braden has made a confession, he said he doesn't know how to do this, anybody else knows?
Oh, no, I know how to do it. Hold on.
People aren't admitting
Cost me $50 for shipping. $50 for shipping.
For shit.
Okay,
Shipping days.
That's the longest 10 seconds in your life.
okay, you ready to go over this one now?
Let's go like someone like this maybe.
Anybody ready to go over this now?
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're not ready yet, Siggy?
Yeah. Nah, let's go with this. Go.
Okay. Okay,
I still.
basically, and you guys, a lot of you worked it out. What happens is we have x equals 1, so that would, to me, would be h is equal to 1, right?
Yeah.
And so what we have is f of x equals a, and then we're going to have x minus 1 squared plus k.
Yeah.
Does everybody see it to that point?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to do these different points here. We're going to say for negative 2, comma 5. So we're going to say 5 is equal to a times negative 2 minus 1 squared plus k. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so we're going to have negative 2 minus 1, that's going to be negative 3, right? Negative 3 squared is 9. So we have 5 is equal to 9a plus k. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? And now we're going to have for the other point, 2 comma 3, So you have 3 is equal to A times 2 minus 1 squared plus K. Is that what you got for that one?
Yeah, that's what I got.
So that's going to be 3 equals A plus K. Does that look right?
Yeah.
And then
Subtracting.
we can subtract. So if I put right under here, I'm going to put A plus K, and we subtract these functions here. I'm going to have 2 is equal to 8A. Does that look right?
That's about right.
And so dividing by 8, we have 2 over 8. So A is going to be equal to 1/4,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then we plug in right here, this for A, we have 3 equals 1/4 plus K. And if you subtract 1/4, you'll get like 2.75. You see that?
Uh-huh.
Or 11/4. Or I'll just say 2.75. So K is equal to 2.75. So now our function is going to be f of x equals 1/4 x minus 1 squared plus 2.75. All right, anybody get this? You got it, Kendall, you got it? You got it?
Yeah.
Who else got it? Chloe, you got it?
I think you got it.
Okay. Anybody else get this? Got Atlee and Chloe,
Bryson.
Bryce
Lexi
did?
did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Some of you did, okay.
Okay.
Now, how, are you confident that you get a question like this on your test tomorrow, you'll be okay with it? Okay, I'm seeing a little more confidence on that.
Yeah, yeah, we get it.
Yep.
Okay, so this is one of these things that because of the steps involved, this is one of the steps that sort of can separate, okay, some of the level of students, right? But that's okay. It sounds like you guys are up to the challenge, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are going to play like the Eye of the Tiger, and you'll be good, right?
We should have played the movie, should you?
The what?
We should have played the movie.
Yeah, we should have.
So we have x minus 1 squared plus 2.75. And we just see if it matches, right? So zoom 6. Okay, we have 2.75, and are these points on here? Let's see what they are. The points are -2.5 and 2.3, right?
Mm-hmm.
-2, so -2.5,
Oh,
that
yeah.
checks, right?
Oh, yeah.
And was it
Two.
2.3? Yeah, that checks too. We can check on the window. Okay, -2.5, 2.3. Here's the 1, 2 points. So everything checks out, right? Okay. So that's it. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, you guys gonna be ready for it tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Be ready, all right. Let's look at this. The last one we have in this set is a suspension bridge problem.
I'm not gonna be here tomorrow.
And here it is. I
One.
We're gonna be with that.
want you to do this problem here, and we'll go over it in just a few minutes here. Cables on either side of pedestrian bridge. Do you remember in our exercise set doing problems like this? You should. Well, I got you guys.
Towers support the cable.
I get this. The other one?
Oh, you did that?
I know you.
Okay. Well, you just put it in.
The other one?
What?
One of your other.
I need to eat that next day.
One of your other.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The car?
I love all these.
Cut your cock.
Cut it.
So funny.
Still up though.
At least swam. Take them back.
You know, with boost off.
Would you have?
Okay, what are you doing on this? Are you making a sketch of this?
Drawing it.
Drawing this?
It says I'm missing a paper from you.
What? I don't think so. I think you're okay. Let me see.
Well, I
check.
haven't missed it.
I think. Let me see what you're missing. I will check.
You want to dump a white pot?
You don't do that. I don't want you to. What is that?
It's my, sending some postcards to Army or some crap. Veterans. Look at that drawing of it. Look at that drawing at least. Program.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Sally, I am missing one on you. It's true. Atlee, the one I'm missing is,
I'm gonna tell you what, I was almost in that bathroom before the whole rest.
I'm missing chapter 3.1, exercise 1 through 10.
Can you give me the paper?
I can, I'll try to find it.
I passed the reading one by 5.
I think I did.
And I passed the math, I can find the exact score I passed.
You're back.
Remember, I didn't pass them. No, I was supposed to do it. Remember, I took like 3.
Here, Bryce, I got this entered here now, okay?
I probably would.
Okay. You have an answer to this? Randy, did you get this figured out?
Randy has this.
You got this, Lexi? Do you know how to do this, Lexi?
Expanded?
Cables,
That's my math.
I don't know what 6 means.
Yeah, looks like you do more.
I'm gonna have it.
That means the middle.
Well, like, it's 150, so why is 6 feet after?
You got my screen on?
6 feet in the ground.
Should be.
Yeah.
Okay, would it help to have a drawing of this?
Yes.
I mean,
Okay, now this is a drawing that you should be able to make at this point, okay? So we got these towers that are 150 feet apart and are 50 feet high. So here we have a tower, right? And this measures 50 feet. Okay, 50 feet. And we have another tower over here that also measures 50 feet, right?
Wow. Great.
And we know these towers are 150 feet apart. So we have the cables are at a height. Okay, the cables are in the shape of parabola. So here we have this parabola going down like this. Okay? And then we have this little distance here is what? 6 feet. And so you really have a choice at this point. Okay, I guess I'm just going to leave it there for right now. Are you okay on this so far? Did anybody get the sketch like this?
I did.
Did you?
I like 2 blocks.
Was this that hard of a sketch to make?
2 blocks.
Yeah.
Blocks.
Okay. And this is a standard problem. You'll see one similar to this on your test tomorrow. So it's going to be the same thing. Numbers will be different.
So you're doing udder?
Just pretty.
What?
Udder.
Who is it? Austin?
Butter? Buttercocks.
What?
What are you doing, bro?
Come on, Bryce.
That's 30 feet.
That's not mine, that's my other grade.
No, this is allowed, at least
As long as you don't tell me Brenda in here, it's like,
No.
text law, that's a video.
Okay, Siggy, you finish this one?
No.
Stay on task.
It's kind of crazy.
Bryce, you finish this one? Atlee, you finish this one? Okay. There are different ways to set this up. I watched the video I did on this from last year, and I set up the axes like this on the left edge. I set it up like this, XY coordinate like this. You see you could do that? But I'm thinking that there's an easier way to do it, which would be maybe setting up your XY coordinate like this. So if we set that up like this, XY coordinate, we would have a vertex, right? And what is going to be our vertex for this? 0, 6, right? So there's our vertex. And so what will we do with this vertex to get an equation in vertex form? Well, it's going to be f of x is equal to a times x minus h. Well, that's going to be 0, right? Squared plus 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's the value of putting that vertex right here, putting that y-axis right along that vertex. It just makes this simpler right here. And so now what point do you want to use? Okay, I want to use this one right here, which is going to be 75, comma 50. You see that?
Edgy.
So here we have 50.
That's half of it.
50 is equal to a times 75 squared plus 6. All right? And then subtract 6. So we get 44 feet, or 44 equals, well, 75 squared equals 75 squared a, and then we could divide by 75 squared. So a is equal 44 divided by 75 squared. And you could actually work that out as a number, whatever. Do you have to do that? Not necessarily, right? So what is our function going to be? Well, it's going to be f of x equals 44 over 75 squared times x squared plus 6. And how do we test that equation? Use our calculator, right? So if we go to here, put in, I'll put in 44, and down here denominator 75 squared, and over here delete, and I'll delete that, delete that, delete that. So we have x squared plus 6. Oops, that's 5. Put 5, 6. Delete, delete, delete. And then we can test our points. One thing we can do is we can go to table set and go to, I'll go table start here. I'm going to go to ask. Okay, if I go to ask, I'll be able to go here and test the points easily. So at 0, we should get 6. Do we get 6? At 75, we should get 50. We get 50, check. Okay, and then what is the question we're asked? What is the height of the cable 30 feet from the center of the bridge? So what do we have to put in here now? 30. So we have 326 over 25. So 326 divided by 25. So we get 13.04 feet, right?
Carry what?
So F of 30 equals 13.04 feet.
I do.
What's capital certificate?
And that's going to be our answer for that, okay? And so really that's it. That's the entirety of the review. Thank you.